p.m. It's 23rd. Haven't seen you for 2 weeks.
It's been a long
time.
It's good to have you back.
Great
It's good to have you back. Happy St George's Day.
Yep.
Happy St George's Day to everyone. Coming up on the Weather Studio Live this week, we are talking what a sensational Easter weekend it was. It was sunny for the vast majority. It was really warm for the vast majority as well. And just how high did those temperatures get? Did we break any records?
I'd like to know that. I really would. Also, Saharan dust. Have you woken up this morning to a dusty car? My husband hates that, always blames the handyman next door. But this time it could be something different. We'll be talking about that in a moment as well.
And we'll be looking ahead. The weather this week, big changes on the way. If you're fed up with the warmth, some people are, believe it or not, but yes, there is a big change on the way. This weekend is going to be so different to last weekend. We'll have more on that. We are live on Periscope, we are live on Facebook, and we are, of course, live on YouTube. Please do send us in your questions. We will try and answer some during the next 20 minutes or so. Send your questions in, even if you're not watching this live. Keep the questions coming. We will try and answer as many as we can. Give us the thumbs up and subscribe to our channel as well. Already had.
Oh.
A couple of questions in today.
Oh, hello, you lovely people from Chris A on YouTube. Hello, lovely Chris. How are you? Why are thunderstorms here in the UK often so pathetic and short-lived? Well, you haven't lived through tomorrow. Yeah,
there could be some. There could be some. I mean, compared to, I guess he's comparing them to the ones in the United States where you get to get bigger.
The supercell development.
Massive supercells. We can get big thunderstorms over here. There will be some around tomorrow. Yes, and Ian Paul Westwood. Can we expect rain soon? My pots are dry. Well, Ian, yes, many people are desperate for some rain because it has been so dry. Good news for you, Ian. Yes, there is some wet weather on the way for all. If you don't get it tomorrow, because it will be a bit hit and miss tomorrow, but by the end of the week we will all be seeing some outbreaks.
I know we all need welcome rain, but wasn't it amazing that bank holiday Easter weekend was dry and sunny because the kids were off. A lot of us didn't go away. You know, we want some sunshine just to celebrate and preempt maybe a good summer season. So we like in this country a bit of everything. We love our verdant land, but also a bit of sunshine.
It's
and
a
certainly
4-day bank holiday weekend, and pretty much all 4 days were dry, warm and sunny. There was a bit of cloud here and there in the northwest at times, I know that, but for most places this was a classic scene. Northamptonshire Weather Centre's this photo from there. But this was on Friday. Temperatures on Friday. How high did we get? Good Friday?
Oh, are you asking me? 24.5 in Wisley, sorry.
Did you know that? So Wisley was the top temperature on Good Friday, 24.5 degrees Celsius, warmest day of the year so far. But we went higher on Saturday. How high did we get? This is the satellite picture from Saturday. As I said, it was a bit cloudy in the northwest of Scotland. There was a few spots of rain here, but for the vast majority, it was a cracking day. Again,
maximum sunshine, really. We're talking how many hours of sunshine at this time of year? Around 13 and a half? 14?
14.1 is the most recorded on Easter.
Oh,
so,
really?
Yes, there you go. There's a stat for you.
He's good, isn't he, Alex?
There's a stat. Another stat. Saturday, 25.5 Celsius at Heathrow. Now, that wasn't a record for Easter Saturday across the UK as a whole, but it was for Scotland and Northern Ireland. They broke their records there. And again, it was the warmest day of the year so far. Easter Day, Sunday, this beautiful image sent from, I'll call him Matt. Sorry, I can't pronounce your full name there, Matt. It's a bit tricky. This was in Liverpool on Sunday. And again, it was a cracking day, if you like, warm, sunny weather, 24.6. So actually, temperature dropped a little bit. That was at Heathrow. But again, many places seeing endless blue skies on Easter Day.
And that was pretty much north, south, east and west, wasn't it?
That was, and again, that wasn't a UK record for Easter Day. Now, we're talking about Easter records, and Easter's tricky, particularly for statisticians, because it moves. So you're not comparing like with like. So you have to get over that fact as well. You're not comparing like with like.
What is the record, the all-time record for an Easter weekend?
For an Easter weekend, it's 29.4 Celsius, and that was set Camden Lock. 70 years, 1949, that was set, 29.4, Camden Lock.
70 years ago.
And that is also the all-time April record.
Right. So we almost got to it last year, did we?
Well, this weekend, last year, of course, it wasn't Easter.
No.
We got 29.1. So it was close to that all-time April record. So it's not that unusual for these kind of high temperatures, but it's unusual for 4 full days of warm, sunny weather.
Is it also unbelievable that this time last week, we were just coming out of a very cold spell, weren't we? So the UK weather's really undulated.
Keeps us on our toes,
Keeps
doesn't
us
it?
on our
We'll
toes.
see another twist in the next few days.
Another question. how many degrees above average is that then for the UK? Or
well, for Heathrow, the average is around about 13, 14,
right.
so it's around 10 degrees above
10 degrees above average.
And on Easter Day, Sunday, we did break the records for Northern Ireland, Scotland and Wales, but we didn't break the UK because the UK record is 25.3, I think, for Easter Day.
Wow, you've got so many numbers in your head.
I have, haven't I? And this was Bank Holiday Monday, wow. Easter Monday, again, satellite picture. Even the northwest of Scotland by this stage, beautifully clear. Signs of a change with some higher cloud in the south, and that we've seen that more of that over the last 24 hours. But yes, Bank Holiday, Easter Monday, 25 degrees. Bang on. A few other sites recorded that as well, and that was a record for England, Wales, Scotland and Northern Ireland. They also broke their records for Easter Monday, the warmest Easter Monday on record, breaking the...
So every day we broke pretty much any record around Easter, but also...
interestingly, the records for Easter Day and Monday are lower than the Saturday and the Good Friday records, and it does vary. So you're not really comparing like with like, but we just like to talk about stats, don't we? We love a few stats on this show, particularly when it's warm and it's sunny.
Now, a lot of people are messaging in saying they've got hazy sunshine or overcast skies today, and there's a mixture of reasons for that, isn't there?
Yes, we've got a lot of high cloud that's been spilling in across from thunderstorms that kicked off across France, and that is a classic. When you get a warm spell of weather with southerly winds, often talk about 3 fine days and then a thunderstorm, and that's kind of the scenario we've got at the moment, because we've got these southerly winds wafting up the high cloud from the thunderstorms that broke out across France yesterday. And yes, another consequence of southerly winds is this. Yes. What on earth is this?
Oh, well, it's a dirty car. My husband would be very upset with me if I drove into the drive of that. Actually, though, there's something particular about this, isn't there?
It's not the driver's fault. No. I don't think. I took this photo this morning, went to the car park. The first 3 cars I saw was this one. This one, again, you can see where that's the rear windscreen there. Again, it looks really mucky. And this one as well. Again, the rear windscreen absolutely covered in, what is it?
Saharan dust.
Saharan dust.
And it's not just in the West Country, it's right across the country, isn't it? Plumes coming up.
Plumes coming up, so we've got Saharan dust in the atmosphere because it is what it says on the tin. It's dust from the Saharan desert that's been dragged up across the UK. Now, many of you, or the more likely scenario, is that you will see the sun being a bit redder in the sky, either first thing this morning or this evening because of the Saharan dust. To get it down on the cars, you need a shower. You need to have
and we did see some of those in Devon this morning, didn't we?
Well, exactly, and across parts of Wales. Yeah. This is why we've got the Saharan dust. This is the ASICS, what we call the ASICS, technical term, basically the analysis, the pressure chart for Monday, for yesterday. Here's the UK. Weather front's kept at bay. That's why it was dry and sunny from high pressure, but follow the isobars, and they go all the way down across the Mediterranean. And interestingly, here's North Africa, and there's a low pressure here, and the winds are going around that area of low pressure. And what are those winds doing? Across the Saharan desert, they're mixing, they're lifting the dust up into the atmosphere, and that dust has been travelling then along the path of the isobars, across from Italy, across France, and up across the UK.
Yeah. It's fascinating, really, and this time of year you get more Saharan dust than other times of the year. It's a transitional season across the Sahara. It's been a dry spell, and then you get these big storms. A lot of them are dry storms, and they pick up a lot of dust, and this lifted dust gets carried away. Now, do you know how many tons of dust gets carried across the globe by Sahara dust each year?
How many tons of dust
how many
gets
tons?
carried away? 2,000.
Almost, but not quite. Add on quite a few more zeros.
Okay.
180 million tons of dust a year. Can you believe that?
Lifted off the Sahara.
Lifted up from the Sahara and gets transported right across the globe. Wow. 6 times more than any other source of dust, sand and dirt from any other part of the world. That's a good one.
That's a good stat.
That's a good stat. So you had some numbers, I've got some. My numbers are bigger than yours. So yeah, dust storms tend to take place across the Sahara during the springtime, when you get these really massive, like continental lows that pick up all this, that get whipped and lashed. And the reason why we call it dust, because it's sand, but also other things. The topography does change across this northern part of Africa, so you get these dry seabeds of salt as well, which get picked up. Now, most of the dust gets carried westward across the Atlantic.
Yeah, and a more normal scenario would be the high pressure here.
Prevailing, coming
it's
down.
Quite unusual for the low
the
air to be coming all the way around in that trajectory.
And in fact, it travels at around, I mean, the dust that we're seeing today is about 3,000 to 4,000 feet. But it can be picked up to a level of around 20,000 feet. And the winds there are very, very strong. So it can be transported right across the Caribbean, the States, as well as Amazonia.
Well, let's have a look at
Let's have a look
at some of the... these are the showers.
Oh, yes, from this morning.
These are the showers from this morning. So this is the radar, probably a bit overdone. There weren't quite as many showers as that, just the radar image that you can see. That's why the dust came down, because if you lived across these areas where it's dry, you won't see the dust on your cars because you need the rain to actually wash it out of the atmosphere. But let's take a look at some of the dispersal models. This is from NASA, an image here, and you can see the dust particles here being swirled up across Italy and then across the UK. And actually, some of the dust particles have been as far north as Iceland and Greenland as well. So that's quite
It's really
unusual.
picking up and pushing right the way across these northern reaches. And this is beautiful, isn't it?
Could watch this all
I mean,
day,
this almost
couldn't we?
looks like a Northern Lights type of scenario.
Doesn't it?
Obviously, it's not. It's much, you know, it's
So
a
the
bit
different
lower
colours
level than
representing
that.
different particles here.
Yeah.
Blue is salt. Red is dust, and you can see that
minerals,
right across the Sahara there, and carbon and sulfates the green. And actually, what you can really see here is that yes, we've had it for the past couple of days, and the next day or so it will continue. But actually, it gets a lot clearer, a lot cleaner our air over the next few days.
I mean, there's pros and cons when it comes to Saharan dust. You know, when the aerosols are in the air at lower level, it can cause breathing issues. Obviously, the air can be very hazy. But scientists have suggested that it's a really important process for replenishing soils and nutrients in the soils across the rainforest. So because they get washed out through rainwater and farming, so it's really important that this continues to be replenished. So yeah, it's a really important process. And
think about that when you're washing your car. It's actually a good thing. It really is a good thing. That this
it also is very good for fertilising phytoplankton blooms. But so there's downside and there's upside to this. But yes, you can see it really. Yeah, it's incredible. And obviously these winds are on lots of different levels. Are being picking up this dust, covering much of Europe with it as well. So it's not just us seeing these sunsets and these dirty cars, etc., and these hazy conditions, and then it clears away.
Watch that all day long.
That's NASA actually. You can go to the NASA website and have a look at that. Really good. And you can see it from space as well. Some of these dust plumes are so big.
Any more dust facts?
No, that'll do for now. Maybe actually we'll be talking about the Saharan dust on our Weather Snap podcast tomorrow. So there'll be more facts about that as well.
Alison Bartlett says orange skies then. Yes, that is the other consequence. Today, because we've got that high cloud from those thunderstorms, you might not get a great sunset. But yes, if you've got a good sunset this evening, every chance that it could be more orange than usual because dust particles scatter the blue light so the sun appears red. It's what happened a couple of years ago when Ophelia came. That's Ophelia. We dragged up that Saharan dust and the fire particulates from Portuguese wildfires as well. So yes, every chance. There's some really pretty...
Eric Mum says, is dust dusty or is it just dust? Well, it's sort of different types of minerals and sands and salts, so they come in different sort of particle size. It's not like dust that you'd find maybe static on your television screen.
Yes, another question on Facebook from Sir Fame. Dust unusual for the UK? Not really.
No,
not that unusual. It's quite unusual for this early, I guess, and to be this. It was pretty extensive this morning. Really quite noticeable. But no, we do get it once or twice a summer and spring, I would have said, on average. Not Alison, but Andrew Hayward. Weather for the weekend. Just stick with us, Andrew. It is coming.
Yeah.
But if you enjoyed last weekend, you probably won't enjoy this weekend. That's all I'm going to say at this stage. But yes, the weather is on its way. And it is.
So cameras at the ready this evening. You know, there's, as I said, you know, it's not very nice seeing all that dust in the atmosphere, but you can take some beautiful photographs with sunsets through this.
Another bonus of it. Again, as you're washing the car, just think about all the pretty pictures that we'll be able to see. Okay, so let's get on forecast for the next 24 hours or so, because we're in for some lively weather. Again, it's all coming up from the south, with the potential for some thunderstorms this afternoon across the southwest, but they'll be very isolated. The onshore flow bringing a lot of cloud to these northeastern areas. So this is as we go through Wednesday, and then look at this, a rash of showers heading up from the south. And so, yes, a very different day tomorrow. We're in line for some heavy, possibly thundery showers.
So when you say thundery, we're talking thunder, lightning, anything else we can expect tomorrow, and where as well?
Well, it's going to be in a kind of band, but it's a mishmash, and they're going to be hit and miss. So not everywhere is going to see these downpours, but it's one of those days where some places could
see quite a few, maybe hail as well.
Hail as well. It could see 20, 30 millimetres
Gusty
an
winds,
hour,
etc.
gusty winds. Whereas 5 miles away you might not get much. So if you're desperate for rain, there will be some in the there is some in the forecast tomorrow, but it will be somewhat hit and miss. Whereas later in the week we'll all get some.
Western Scotland though.
Yeah, Western Scotland having a decent day, and still pretty warm tomorrow actually. Temperatures will be a lot down on what they have been, but still some pockets of warmth where we see a bit of sunshine. Temperatures could really jump up again because we've still got the warm air at this stage. We've just got the low pressure swilling around. So that is just something to bear in mind for tomorrow. Particularly tomorrow evening, through the rush hour, parts of northern England and parts of the Midlands as well. Could be some really intense downpours around tomorrow. So that is the change that's taking place tomorrow. Right.
However, as I head into the latter part of the week and into the weekend, am I talking jumpers again, coats? Will I have to wear socks?
Yes, all of those at the same time. Glad to sort out your wardrobe.
Okay, it's worth knowing because actually from last weekend, people may be making plans for next weekend, heading to the beach, heading out for a nice walk, and it is going to feel a lot different, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a dramatic change on the way with the weather this week. So we'll start on Wednesday. Let's put the pressure pattern on. Here's our low pressure. It's still at this stage drawing air up from the south. Thunderstorms across Spain heading our way, but then low pressure kind of hangs on. But now we're looking out in the Atlantic, much more of an Atlantic influence of our weather by the time we get into the weekend. So the winds, instead of coming from Africa, now follow the isobars. They're all the way out in the Atlantic. And the Atlantic ain't warm at the moment, so it's going to bring in cooler and cooler air. Now, this area of low pressure is really quite interesting. This is Saturday. But there's a lot of uncertainty about the position and the intensity of this low pressure system. Look at the number of isobars. They're really squeezing together. So if this area of low pressure develops across the UK, it could be quite lively. It could be some very strong winds with that. There's a lot of uncertainty because it's 4 or 5 days away, for example. But what we are pretty confident on, if we just run through these graphics again, starting on Wednesday, let's put the temperatures on, and we can see that the graphics have just crashed.
The interesting thing about this is that this is a very complex sort of region of low pressure. So once it's with us, it could be with us for a while. It could be different types of low, but the unsettled weather likely to remain so for a while.
It is. It definitely is. Yes. Oh, it's all jammed up on me, Claire.
Oh, well.
But anyway, you can see that. So this
is
Wednesday, and then we look to Atlantic, and what we will see is the temperatures are falling away. So much cooler air coming in from the Atlantic. The jet stream changing position as well. Instead of driving, at the moment, the jet stream's down here, driving the low pressure, bringing our air up from the south. The low pressure the jet stream moving more in from the Atlantic as we go.
If you follow the isobars from the north, you can see it's almost returning polar maritime air mass, isn't it? So it's got a cooler feed and also a lot of moisture, loaded with moisture in the air, which means we will get rain. We're going to get some strong winds, and temperature's going to be a lot lower.
Yes.
How much lower do you think there will be?
Well, temperatures by Saturday could be as much as 5 degrees below average. So whereas at the weekend we were double figures above average. We're
talking about sort of 10, 11, 12 degrees Celsius, which is not great, really. And also sea surface temperatures this time of year, as you said, are quite low at the moment, which means that we're going to be picking up some very cool air coming in from the Atlantic, which is such a shame, isn't it? However, for the parks, for the gardens, it's good news because we don't want a parched spring. We've still got some really good wet conditions to come, which will add value to our aquifers, our water levels, and replenish those dry lands before the summer really kicks in. So,
graphics have given up. They're just not playing ball.
But we're still here.
But we are still here. So that will be the big change. We're going to see much cooler temperatures back below average by 5 or 6 degrees, down to single figures through the day, and yes, much colder. Because if the winds pick up as well, if that low pressure develops, we get some strong winds, there'll be significant wind chill and some snow on the Scottish mountains again.
Whoa.
Nothing unusual about that. In April, you do get snow on the Scottish mountains, but it's just such a shock from one weekend where it was cool a couple of weekends ago to the incredible warmth of the Easter, back to much cooler conditions this weekend. And yes, you will need your coat and your umbrellas and everything else.
So weather for the week ahead will be posted today on YouTube and also on Facebook. Let's get on Facebook as well.
Yes.
And then the 10-day trend will be posted tomorrow. So more details, more up-to-date details about what's happening as we head through the next 10 days. And keep your eye out for any weather warnings. We could issue some tomorrow for the thunderstorms. We're keeping a keen eye on that. Us and obviously the meteorologists in the operations centre here at the Met Office. Any more questions?
Lizzie Watson on Facebook. Is it true there'll be snow soon? Well, No, not really. It will be getting colder, and there will be some snow on the mountains, perhaps across Scotland. Again, nothing unusual about that. So it is getting colder, yes, but we're not expecting at this stage any significant widespread snow. So don't worry about that. But thank you for your question. Do keep coming, do keep sending them in, your questions. We'll try and answer as many as we can. Subscribe to this channel, but subscribe also to Learn About Weather channel. On there, there's all kinds of really interesting videos about Saharan dust.
Why is the sky blue?
Spanish plume, about why is the sky blue as well. Podcasts.
Podcast going out tomorrow. A weather snap, we're talking about all the stuff we've been talking about today in a bit more detail, but also pollen count. Why is tree pollen count so high at the moment? Because it is high everywhere.
My car yesterday was covered in pollen, and now it's covered in Saharan dust. It's covered in a combination. Anyway, yes, thank you very much for watching.
Thank you for watching.
Please, do keep sending your questions in and join us again next week. Thank you.